Following respective victories on the opening day of the new season, Champions League hopefuls, I think we could maybe say that. West Ham take on Leicester City at home at the London Stadium. Full capacity crowd on Monday evening under the lights. Welcome back to West Ham Network. I was about to say the wrong one, Matt. I was about to say the wrong one. Welcome back to the network. My name's Anton. If any of you are new around here, thank you for joining us. And of course, I'm joined by Matt. Matt, Leicester City, mate. Talk to me briefly.
They're a good team. I wish we were on like them.
Yeah.
It'll be a hard game. There's no cutting it. They have, by the skin of their teeth, missed out on Champions League 2 years running.
Yeah.
For all winning purposes, they're a Champions League team without the little rubber stamp saying it.
Yeah, of course, mate. Of course they are. Yeah, no, and in a minute we'll kind of get into the nitty-gritty of Leicester City. However, before we do, I'm actually going to put a link in the chat. The link in the chat is for Irons supporting food banks. Now, there's a bit of kickback there. Matt, you might need to take that off.
Yeah,
Oh, I'll get you out there. Oh, no, I can't. It's gone. So the link is in the chat, and what it is that we're going to be doing a lot of promotion for the Iron Supporting Food Banks. And as you can see, what you will see when you walk up to the London Stadium is this big shiny thank you to Canning Town Len for creating that for the Iron Supporting Food Banks. What you actually do is you can actually scan your phone across the QR code, which is the top left-hand side, and that'll take you directly to the donation page of their website, and you can donate to the Iron Supporting Food Banks. But if you want to know exactly where they are, their location is opposite the Park Information Centre on Stratford Walk, just before the Aquatic Centre, and they are based there up to 3 hours before every single home game. So please go and speak to them. John Ratomski, who runs the whole setup, we speak to him on a regular occasion, and we want to support this. It's definitely worthwhile cause. They need all the support they can absolutely get. So if you want to help the local community in and around the area, then please go across and speak to John and the team that are involved there as well. So that's the location, and I have put a link in the description. Let me just bring it up for you again. There it is there. So please get across and do it. Now, Matt, we're going to talk about Leicester City, but before we do, we have to play a little cheeky video, so it's time to talk the opposition. Let's talk Leicester City. Jack from Leicester Fan TV joins us again. I think this could be your hat-trick appearance, Jack, on the channel. Well, actually, that's a lie. This is your first appearance on the new channel. So we'll and maybe collectively, it's maybe your sixth appearance over the two channels. I'm not too sure. Jack, how you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, good, boys. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good, thank you. Both off to a good start in the Premier League. And it was an exciting last season. How are you feeling about this season?
Confident, we've done quite a lot in the transfer window this time round, bringing in Boubacar Samare, Patson Dako, Yannick Vestergaard and Ryan Bertrand. We've tied Harvey Barnes down to a new contract, and we're doing exactly that now. We've kept the players who's been linked with other clubs like James Maddison and Yuri Tillemans, who Tillemans, we're hoping he'll sign another contract with Leicester on top of his new one, which he's obviously got 2 years left now. We've won the FA Cup, won the Community Shield. That gives us massive confidence to go into the new season and see if we can achieve any more and win any more trophies. What's on offer?
Yeah, I mean, What an intro, Jack. What an intro. I mean, you've literally just taken any form of balloon that I've got and put that little cheeky pin through it, and I feel so deflated after what you have just said. But it's not. I am jesting. However, we did speak beforehand, and we were just talking about, like, and I think we talk about it all the time, every time you come on or anytime we speak to Leicester fans. And Matt, you'll agree, you know, there is that element of jealousy. We can't remotely deny it. And it is jealousy because it's
100%.
everything that a fan wants, isn't it, really?
We would love to be run the way they're run. Like, they are the epitome of everyone that's not one of the quote-unquote big teams. Like, they have got the blueprint on how to run your club. If you want to compete in the top six, but you haven't got that money, if you want to be well run on and off the pitch, training facilities, infrastructure, fan community, the way they scout and buy players, the way they don't get bullied in selling. If they sell for big money. They don't roll over and sell for cheap. Every club would want to be like them. If we had an owner that was half as good as them, we'd be a well-run club. I can't speak highly enough of the way Leicester are run. I'm envious to the moon and back.
It even goes down to the point of, you know, you can recognise when a player is going to leave, and you can recognise, even if it's one of your best players, that you can actually sell on for good value of money and reinvest that money correctly. So it goes down to that part. You know, it's a bit like, you know, there's stories breaking today. I don't believe them. I genuinely don't believe them about the Declan Rice situation at West Ham. I'm not going to go into depth about the Declan Rice situation because I genuinely don't believe what's being put out there today, but that's my opinion and people can disagree with me. However, what I'm trying to stress is that if a player at your club leaves and he's the best player, teams like Leicester City can manage that situation, Jack. And I take it you feel like that. So potentially gone are the days within reason that you panic as soon as you hear of a player that's big linked out of the club.
Yeah, just like every fan does. It's agents' paradise to transfer windows, isn't it? Getting their players to move around and hopefully get a big move. Youri Tielemans has obviously been in the press quite a lot this transfer window, being linked with the likes of Liverpool and stuff like that. James Maddison, Arsenal, you know, it's not gone away. The only way it's gone away is telling them they're not for sale, and Sky Sports try bigging it up as much as they can. They try getting a move for the player more than the actual club does. So it's what transfer windows are made of, aren't they? Rumours, speculation, everything. You know, it's good to actually talk about as a football fan. If we didn't have that, we'd have nothing to talk about, would we, over the summer? And I guess keeping the likes of James Maddison, Youri Tielemans and stuff like that is very good for Leicester. And it just shows that we want to keep our squad together and not sell for little amounts what these big clubs think we can just roll over and sell them for little amounts. Obviously, you know, if we look at our transfer business over the past few seasons, Ben Chilwell, £50 million, Harry Maguire, 80 plus. You know, it just shows Leicester have reinvested in that, bringing in the likes of Patson Daka for cheap, Bakary Samare, Ryan Bertrand on a free, Yannick Vestergaard for £15 million. We've reinvested very smartly. Our blueprint for our transfer window is very well run, and we know which players we want to sign. And, you know, it's players what don't really get looked at the bigger teams. You know, we've found some hidden gems like Wesley Fofana in that, and the money we've paid is very muchly paid off. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm going to play a little video, which is everything to do with what we need to know about tomorrow's game, that talks about a little bit of the previous history between the clubs as well.
I mean, some interesting stats there, really, that set it off. Leicester have got a really good away record from last season. West Ham have a really good home record. An interesting stat, Matt, that we'll come on to in a minute is in David Moyes' tenure at West Ham in the second term, 90-odd goals that we have scored. So we are scoring goals, which is really, really good to see. But before we go on to Leicester and talk more in depth about Leicester, Jack, let's take a look and see what happened the last time out we met each other. Does feel like a long time ago when that happened, but we did do the double over you guys last year. I remember having someone from your channel on for the first game preview, and there was a really strong amount of confidence, and probably, Matt, going into that game, there was a strong amount of lack of confidence from ourselves. However, those games against Leicester and Wolves, the first game in particular, right back at the beginning of the season, were the kickstart into our season that we had. So, Jack, how are you feeling about the West Ham game coming up? How are you feeling about West Ham in particular on the back of last season? And how do you think Brendan Rodgers is going to counter what West Ham play like?
West Ham fully deserved top 6 last season. Fantastic in the way they went about their football. They didn't back down against teams that on paper really West Ham should have lost against, but they never did. They put up a fight. And it just showed the team spirit of West Ham, from Soucek to Soufal to Jared Bowen, Mikel Antonio. They just shined on the pitch and they were fantastic throughout. West Ham, no easy place to go. They're a very difficult side and a very good side. They're obviously in Europe now, which credit to them. They were the dark horses, the unexpected team to make the top 6 last season. And it proved working hard, you get rewarded for, and they fully deserved it. Brendan Rodgers, he'll be cautious of this game after the last 2 games previous, playing West Ham last season. He'll keep in his mind about the errors that we made last season. He'll want to put them right this time against, obviously, playing like Mikel Antonio and that, because he's a right handful for any defence in the Premier League, not just Leicester. David Moyes has done a cracking job since coming back, and obviously last season were a successful season in a West Ham's fans' eyes. It'll be a difficult game tomorrow, like any other game. You can't underestimate the opposition, and if you underestimate them too much, you don't know what's around the corner. And I think Leicester will keep that in mind. We'll want to go into the game tomorrow, obviously, and get back-to-back wins. Obviously, the last time we played West Ham in the second game of the season, we won the league. So we want to go and win every game, don't you? You never underestimate the opposition because you don't know what's around the corner. And yeah, a very difficult game from a away fans' point of view. And I'm expecting no different. It's going to be a very challenging game, and both teams are going to want to win the game. So it's going to make an interesting competition tomorrow night.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, you've got Brendan Rodgers, a well sought after manager. He's come in, he's continued everything that was created before him. And he's growing the team. And what he has done is he's gone into the transfer market, like you said, and according to the fans, he's bought wisely. This season will be the telling season to see whether or not he has. But you have brought in, on paper, even as West Ham fans would say, several players that we were linked to, and we're probably one in particular where we're desperate to get over the line, which is this young lad here, Daka. What's your thoughts on him in particular? I mean, I know he's had a pre-season, but what's your thoughts on the signing in particular?
I mean, he'll link with Liverpool. That shows how intent Leicester are. We're a top 6 club now. I'm not going to deny that. It just shows we mean business this season. Obviously, in the last 2 seasons, we've missed out on Champions League. We want to put it right this time round, third time lucky. We needed to get business done early. We've done exactly that. Strength in depth has been needed over the last 2 seasons, and we've done exactly that this window. Leicester's meant business in what he said. He wants to bring one more in. whether it's Madueke or whoever, you know. Brendan Rodgers is confident of getting another player in. So, yeah, our transfer business is done very smartly. Behind the scenes, you've never heard of Leicester sit there and say, oh, a deal's close or Leicester's interested in signing this player. It's just come out in the media as Leicester's signed a player. You know, I think that's to keep the warning from the big clubs. So they don't sign them. And
the funny thing is, there's actually, sorry to interrupt you there, Jack. There's comments in the chat because Toby, for example, has said hidden gems, and he's jesting here because we know him really well. You bastards, by everyone we're linked with, and it's true because we all know links. Some of them are true, some of them are not. But you can go back as far as saying Fofana. I mean, I remember doing a transfer speculation video on him probably 3 or 4 months before you guys actually physically signed him. But the thing is, it's a little bit like West Ham play their hand out to the public, and then everyone turns around. I'm not saying it works like this. I'm genuinely not saying it works like this, but it's just a bit coincidental when you do say, oh, I'm interested in that guy, and then bang, the player team goes and signs him. You're interested in that guy, bang, the player goes and signs him, and you think about Daka, Fofana, etc., players like that. How big a loss, though, is Fofana going to be for your season?
Massive. He had a very successful spell since signing for Leicester. He's been fantastic. He's like an old head on young shoulders. He seems very experienced than what people expected him to be, coming from the League One, where, it's not like the Premier League, is it? The Premier League's more difficult than that. And, it's just one team in it for League One, PSG. The Premier League's more hard-working, more testing than that for these players. And he's lived up to the expectations. He's done very well. I think it's going to be a massive loss. Obviously, we've now brought in Yannick Vestergaard from Southampton. He's a giant at 6'6". He obviously knows of his presence at Southampton. He likes to make himself known from set pieces and that. And I think that's where Leicester's going to be key this season, because we don't really score many from set pieces. And I think Vestergaard be key in doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. What happened really was you kind of identified a player very quickly, or possibly had already identified the player for a backup plan, went out there, got the deal done, brought him in to create. And that's something that, West Ham have not signed an outfield player yet this transfer window. We all know that teams need to bring in players to grow year on year, but we're pretty confident with our 11 to 14 first teamers that we've got, because that literally is what we've got. But we do need strength in depth, of course. But what players are we expecting to see? I mean, I'll bring up the starting 11 that you put out against Wolves, Jack, last time out. What, in comparison, I mean, what do we expect to see from the last game compared to the West Ham game?
If Vestergaard's fit, he might replace Amati. Castagno, he's obviously fit now. So does Castagno go on the bench, or does he come in and push Ricardo far forward on that right wing and replace Perez? I guess it goes on formation, doesn't it, with Brendan Rodgers? He's very tactical, just like any other manager. I think a 4 at the back with Vestergaard, Soyuncu, Castagno, Luke Thomas, Pereira, Harvey Barnes, Yuri Tillemans and Wilfred Ndidi. And then Maddison and Vardy, I think. But if Maddison's not fit really to play, then Tillemans further forward and Babaku Samare to come in and partner Wilfred Ndidi.
Yeah. What do you think, Matt, when you look at that lineup and hear what Jack's saying and how potentially West Ham will line up? Because listen, what I'll say is, when I think about the game, the first West Ham Leicester game last season was when we saw 5 at the back. West Ham countered Leicester's formation by playing 5 at the back, and you did struggle with our 5 at the back, with our pacey wingers getting up and down that field, overlapping each other, putting the crosses into the box, which had a positive effect on our goal scoring that day, and kind of nullified any of the threats that were coming. The biggest thing I think we said in the last preview, Matt, for the first Leicester game was nullify the threat of Vardy getting in behind the defenders, and it became a midfield battle, and our midfield in that game particularly won that battle because Souček and Rice closed up shop and didn't allow your players like Tillemans and everyone in the middle of the park to do what they had to do. Matt, what's your thoughts?
It's going to be a tight game because we basically both play, unless Moyes does switch it up and go to the back 5 again, we basically both play the same formation. So it could, you know what? It's got the makings of either a wide open goal fest, or we could literally nullify each other and close each other out. But I was just into your team when you're talking about the Leicester players, and then you're like, oh, well, this player or this player or this player could come in. I think we've literally got about 3 subs that could come in and change our team. You got Iheanacho and Dakar, like both sitting on the bench. So Vardy's not working out. I'll put one of them on. Oh, Tielemans isn't working out. I'll put Samare on. Oh, Justin's not working out. Put Castagna. We don't have those options. It just shows you how well Leicester are run and how well they have brought together a group, not just like an 11. Like we've got 14 players. They've got like a 20, 25-man squad of actual players that can just chop and change all the time. And it's, I said before, I'm envious. Like, it's just rolling off names like, oh, he doesn't play, he plays. We can only dream of having that many players.
But listen, I mean, you know, I think you could probably, I don't know what your thoughts are of it, Jack. I mean, when you look at West Ham, I know you are in the position you're in. Leicester are. I mentioned it earlier on. I showed you some of the stats. We were talking about last season as well. It doesn't matter what team West Ham come up against. You know, I always am fearful of them. And there's always a reason to be fearful of them. There's a reason to be fearful of Leicester because of where they have been and where they've gone to, which is something that West Ham want to emulate. However, we did turn you over twice last year. Yes, you've bought players in to advance your team. But, Brett, it's a kind of contradictory comment. There's a similarity, but there's a not similarity between the style of managers between Brendan Rodgers and David Moyes. But the similarity is the way they think tactically. They'll look at the game and they'll go, Rodgers will probably look at West Ham and go, is he going to play a 5? Because if he's going to play a 5, I'd want to avoid the overlapping runs from these, fast wing, pacey players they've got. And then he's going to look at the midfield package and go, we've got Declan Rice and Souček. How are we going to try and nullify that threat? Because that's a tough threat, no matter what team you are in the Premier League, to face. So for the game, Monday night, away from home, which you've got a good record playing away, but West Ham could be seen as a bit of a slippy team for Leicester, possibly. Would you admit that or not? I don't know. Are they...
I think any team's difficult in the Premier League, no matter where you go. I think if the home crowd's up, then you've got to perform, haven't you? You know, you've got to turn up in every game and hope to win in the end. If you can't win, don't lose. Anyone would take a draw, wouldn't they, away from home, as long as you're picking up the 3 points at home. I think Brendan Rodgers will look at last season and think, you know what? We don't want to lose to these guys this time round. We've lost twice before. We need to put it right this season. We need to keep the likes of Antonio out and people like that and boss that midfield this time round, because last season we didn't. And we very costly in defence. I mean, you lot scored quite a lot of goals past us. I just guess, like you say, you can't underestimate a team like West Ham. It don't matter who you are in the Premier League. Anyone can beat anybody on their day. And I think that's how I look at it. I'm not, I'm a fan who, you want to win every game in the Premier League, as many points as you can in that season. But you've got to be envious, haven't you, of that threat, what West Ham can produce on the day. They're a fighting club. And they know when to turn up. And when they do turn up, they're difficult to beat. And I think that's Brendan Rodgers want to take fire with fire and go and take the fight to West Ham tomorrow night, because David Moyes is a decent manager. He knows, like you say, tactically, he's very good at it. And so is Brendan. So it's going to be tactics versus tactics. It's who wins that battle at the end of the 90 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry, what was that one, Matt? I missed that one. Anyone could be Arsenal. But then typically though, up step West Ham, that's the typical thing that's probably gonna happen against Arsenal. Last time out though, when we played each other, we did have one key player that's going to be missing for this game, and that's Jesse Lingard. Do you think that's going to play into the hands of Leicester City? What's your thoughts?
I think it'd be difficult, me. Lingard made West Ham tick last season, coming in on loan, scored quite a lot of your goals, and got you guys going in the right direction. he picked you up when you conceded. He said, "You know what, guys? You know, we're going to play like Man United and that. We're going to go and take the battle to every team." And he did exactly that. Jesse Lingard, fantastic player. I would have took him on loan last season at Leicester. I think what cost Leicester last season was strength in depth and all these injuries. We had to pick a squad what we wouldn't really choose on a weekly basis in a starting 11. We had to go to the academy and pick all these players out. And then you've got you guys getting Jesse Lingard and that on loan. Do you know what I mean? It's like we need them sort of players last season to boost our chances of Champions League. And, you know, we're not going to use that excuse of injuries last season because we still had an 11 to put on the field and we had to use that 11 to go and try and win every game and pick up as many points as we can. But Lingard played quite a big part in West Ham's top 6 finish last season. And he was fantastic when doing it. I think he'll be a big miss for you guys this season. Obviously not signing him for the £35 million that Manchester United want.
Well, I think there's going to be, you know, I think that's up for, you know, there's going to be that kind of level of debate whether or not Lingard will come. I mean, I think he made a 4-minute appearance today for Manchester United, but there's a lot of strong rumours kicking about, which includes his brother as his agent. I've said it several times on here, and I wouldn't be surprised come 8-9 days' time from now that he will be a West Ham player. We're pretty confident that's where Moyes is putting all of his eggs. However, as Toby says, and it's a valid point to be fair, you know, we were 4th when Lingard signed. Jack, he was amazing, but we already pointed in the right direction. And it's true, we kind of, you know, we were, because we played you guys questionably in our better game without Lingard the first game of the season, and the second game. Yeah, you know, we were still good, but it was probably the Lingard effect that got us through that game, whereas Lingard probably wasn't there. Matt, I don't know if you agree. We could have gone on to lose that game typically, and that was the difference, I think, of what having Lingard was.
We were in the position we were in when he came in, but I think there was definitely a period when Lingard came in that we were starting to, I think, tire a bit. We were starting to run out of ideas and energy during games. And that's when Lingard did show his quality and sort of grabbed us by the scruff of the neck a few times and pulled us through games. He did. I mean, we could have had other players that done it. You know, Lingard's now dropped out and Ben Rama's come in and he's now been able to play in that position. We started to see quality from him. So he may have done that last season. We don't know. But he definitely gave us something on the back end of the season. You know, especially right in the last 5-6 games. I know people come on and say he didn't score any goals in the last couple of games, you know, but he was dragging people out of that position, making space for us. And we just got over the line. But like I said, Ben Rama has stepped up since. He had a really good pre-season, obviously scored and created against Newcastle. So we're going to miss having a body of that quality, but
yeah,
it wouldn't be disastrous if we signed someone else and we didn't sign Lingard. It's
as long as Moyes is working his magic, trust in Moyes is what we say. Jack, let's get to the nitty gritty. I am going to ask you a question before I give you ask for your predictions, and the question is in the video here. Matt, I should have learned to put music on that video. I forgot to do it last week. I forgot to do it this week, but there's usually funky music going on there, Jack. But who is the player you fear the most from West Ham?
The man who were on the video.
I know, I was going to say it. Maybe I should change it because that's
giving
a hint. Else. Yeah, it's giving a bit of a hint. Yeah.
Yeah. Mikel Antonio. He's a presence. He's like Akinfenwa in the Premier League, isn't he? Big, strong, powerful. Makes his presence known, and he is a right handful for defenders. He was at Sheffield Wednesday. He has been throughout the whole of his career, and he plays the exact same way as he did back then. You know, the pace of him, the size of him, you know, he knows how to drag defenders out, doesn't he? And knows where to be at the exact time. And I think tomorrow night it's going to be no different. He's going to be a handful for Soyuncu and whoever partners Cags at the back. I'm expecting no different from him. He's a powerhouse. He's a tank. And I like Antonio. I'd have him up front for Leicester.
The thing is, as well, is what we're noticing with Antonio is, you know, I know we haven't got Lingard yet. However, we have, and it looks like we're going to bring on Ben Rama this season, and that's going to be exciting. He started the season really well, Matt, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But he's playing in that kind of number 10 role and behind Antonio. They seem to be linking up really nicely with each other, getting forward, being creative. So you've got all of these options. However, you just go back to Leicester and it's like a kind of tit for tat. You know, we've got this, well, we've got this, well, we've got this, well, we've got this. And that's what makes it potentially the good spectacle that it is. Who is the player that West Ham fans and West Ham should fear the most, Jack, from Leicester?
Jamie Vardy.
Again?
I know you guys, you know, everyone looks at him now and says he's 34 years old, he's finished, this, that, and the other. That's just nonsense. Jamie Vardy is as young as he feels, you know, he still knows where the goal is. Look at the goal against Wolves, absolutely fantastic. He's one of the best strikers in the Premier League. And any team in the Premier League wished he had a striker like Jamie Vardy. He runs off defenders, he knows where to be at the right time, and knows where goal is. And he's a handful. And he knows how to shit house fans and hope maybe he'll do that to West Ham tomorrow night if he scores. He did it to Wolves. If you'd seen his celebration,
he's done the howling thing, didn't he?
He's a wind-up merchant, but you gotta love him. You know, I would have loved him in the England squad, but England just pick Harry Kane, don't they? You don't really focus on any of the strikers who's performing well for their football clubs. I know he didn't have the best of seasons last season due to like injury and that, and the new way Brendan Rodgers had him as like playing as a winger in Kelechi Iheanacho, scored 19 goals. He helped Kel transform into this beast sort of striker what you've never seen before at Leicester. And I think, you know, the experience shows with Jamie Vardy. He's not getting any younger, is he? But right now, we're not planning without him. You know, he's still a key part to Leicester's success, and he's won quite a lot at the club. He goes down as a legend. And yeah, I'd say Jamie Vardy, me.
Cool. Excellent. Jack, interesting. Are you going to the game tomorrow?
I am, yes. I'll be there.
Good man. Excellent. And I hope you enjoy it, Matt. You'll be going. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be going. So I'll be doing the match day live from the stream. So keep your eye out on that. Matt, Jack, before you go, mate, give me your predictions for the game. And then you can head and myself and Matt will go on a West Ham tangent.
It's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be a scrappy game. It's going to be a fight to the finish. It's which team turns up on the day. From my perspective, I really hope it's Leicester. We need the points to get closer to Champions League football. I'm going to go 2-1 to Leicester. I'm going to go Mikel Antonio to score for you guys. I'm going to go Jamie Vardy to score for us and Patson Daka in the second half.
You think that, you know, when you say Patson Daka, that you know, a goal for him is probably going to kickstart the season and kickstart the striker scoring goals that you want. But you've got options up top, Daka, Iheanacho, Vardy. You know, it's a lot more options.
Can we borrow one?
Listen, Jack, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Leicester Fan TV, go and check them out. I've put the link already in the description. It's already tagged, so you can go and check them out. Really good content. Russ from West Ham Network's already been on for the preview, so go and check that out as well. And I was going to say enjoy the game, but enjoy your experience, but maybe not so much the game. And I hope the season goes okay for you after tomorrow's game, not during tomorrow's game.
Yeah, same for you guys.
Right,
let's go and hammer you in it.
Take it easy, mate. Thanks for coming. Cheers, mate. Take it easy. Bye-bye. Love it, Matt. It's like proper football season now. Second game of the Premier League, second preview, and we've had another away fan on, and it's a good away fan. What do you think about what he said?
Yeah, it's weird. We sort of, well, we always do having people on. It gives us better insight. You know, especially what I'm going to say is because we aren't quote unquote Big Six teams, so. You know, I guarantee if you watch like this preview, you'll get more insight to the game tomorrow than you will watching the pre-match build-up on Sky Sports. Because they'll probably spend 45 minutes talking about Man City and Chelsea and Liverpool from the weekend, and we'll get like 10 minutes coverage right at the end.
That's a valid point, mate. And I tell you what, that's a selling point. You need to upsell that every time we do these shows. If you are watching, I'm going to pass the mic over to Matt. Go on, Matt. Sell it. Go on, son.
So, guys, look, don't bother tuning in for the pre-match tomorrow. Switch this on. Switch this back on. You'll get a better insight more actual fan analysis, more accurate statements, and you won't have to sit and watch Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher do 50 minutes of review from the weekend's big three teams, and then let's sprinkle 5 minutes of West Ham Leicester in it. Don't bother turning on. Turn on at like 2 minutes to 8 when the game kicks off.
Yep. Nail in the head. Or turn on a little bit earlier because we're going to be going on earlier tomorrow. Before we move on and talk about our beloved West Ham, Matt, have you got any other news you want to tell everyone? Any other prizes that you potentially won? Anything else you want to
drop me in it again, yeah? Drop me in it again.
Of course I am.
Of course you are, yeah. Look, it's not my fault, right? I'm generally not a lucky person, but I did win, and everyone's going to say fix now, the football prizes. The prize the other night, I won a signed Saeed Berrama shirt. So I think when that turns up, the flag's coming down, and both the two signed shirts are going up on the wall. It was also a signed Trevor booking plaque, and I get to pick a shirt from the new one of the new shirts. So
I mean, it's unbelievable. But to be fair, what I will say about everyone about Matt is, anytime there's a West Ham prize up for grabs, Matt enters. That's the thing.
I do actually buy tickets, and when
you watch the draw being made, even when it's other clubs, you see regular names appear, and Matt's name always appears when it's West Ham. So Matt, we've probably been sponsored by Football Partners for 3 months. Yeah. There's probably been get prizes several times throughout that, and they're
doing them like every 3 or 4 days now. They were doing it one a week. They're now doing like 2 or 3 a week.
Yeah, and you're probably entering 3 or 4 times. Yeah. And in each one, and so far so good. You've won the signed Di Canio top. You've got a signed Trevor Brooken montage. You've got a signed Saeed Benrahma top, and a brand spanking new top. It's not a bad turnaround. No. I think he should share. I think he should. I mean, I sent him a message
on my wall. That is going on my wall. Flag is coming down. Both the signed shirts are going up instead.
Oh man, people are congratulating you. Does he? Mate, I seen you half your messages you were writing. It was hilarious. I couldn't keep up with them, to be honest. You were going hardcore. Listen, Matt, it's time to talk West Ham. Now, I am going to go over and see what the gaffer had to say, but if people have watched the show I did the other day, we are going to make that a regular feature. Every time David Moyes does a press conference, we're going to release a video on the back of that talking about what he said. However, it wouldn't make a preview if we didn't go over a little bit of his press conference. So let's go and see what the gaffer had to say. People are giving you hints and tips about what you should do, but let's get on to what the gaffer had to say. So he did his press conference on Friday, and I'm just trying to find it here. And I'm not going to cover absolutely everything that he did say. However, I'm going to come on to things like team news. We've got 1 or 2 knocks and niggles. We're still trying to get Arthur Masuaku back from a knee problem. Apart from that, I think we're pretty much okay, I think. We've taken from that Masuaku won't be featured at all. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I think when he got injured, we both said it was a knee injury. It's not going to be quick. Some people were saying it was going to be like weeks, and it has been months. I think we're in a position right now where he's able to slowly bring him back, which is good because so many times in the past we've rushed players back.
Yeah.
And then they have got injured again. So, he played 90 minutes in under-23s. Which, not being funny, the standard of the under-23s isn't great. Like, I know this was the Premier League's big thing to try and make reserve football better again. I don't think it works. I'm not being funny. Was it 4-0 or 4-1 or something? We beat the Arsenal team, the Arsenal under-23s the other day.
6-1.
It was stupid. But did you see some of the goals? Like, they weren't good goals. The defending from Arsenal was shocking.
Yeah.
So putting him in that level of football, it's not going to be stressful on him, and it's going to get his fitness, and it's going to strengthen his knee again. So, giving him the time to get back in the long haul will benefit us because he can play a couple of positions. You know, he can play as a left wing back. If it dire situations, he can play left back. If Creswell gets injured, we've got no one else, and he also has an option going left mid because he's got the pace and trickery. So, not rushing him back at the first couple of games of the season might give him more length of time to play over the season. So yeah, it's what it is.
Yep, absolutely. Words and pictures. We are working on getting a new flag that will be going to the supporters club actually, and they will have quite possibly one of the best locations of putting a flag, showing everyone who's walking up towards the stadium our big, juicy West Ham Network flag as well, but also pointing in the direction of the supporters club, which is a great place to go. Membership options are open. I take it you going there tomorrow, Matt, before the game?
Yes. Yeah, I will be.
Man. If anyone else in the chat is going to the supporters club, can you let us know in the chat? Because we will have Stell, we'll have Matt. I think maybe Alf's going. I need to message Alf and find out if he's going as well. And Dan Love, etc. So we'll be doing some live content coming from inside the supporters club beforehand. Let's get on to quickly the fans. We've got one of the biggest stadiums in the country. To get 60,000 back will be fantastic. We're thrilled, and I'm sure all the supporters will be glad to be back at it as well. I'm looking forward to getting them all in there. It will be great. They're coming back. I hope to watch a much improved team. The players have done a great job in the last 18 months. Hopefully now we can turn the London Stadium into a really fruitful place for us. We've had a good record there last season. I'm looking forward to getting supporters back to help us as well. And talks about Antonio. He's certainly closing in on it now. He's joint top goal scorer, and I'm sure he'll break the record. And if it happens this Monday, it'll be great. But if not, I'm sure it'll be near the future. I think Mish will see it as a big achievement, and he should do, because West Ham have had so many great players through the eras. He started as winger, then went on to fullback, and for this period in his career as a centre forward, hope he ends up 20 or 30 goals ahead of Paulo Di Canio, and it would makes it very difficult for anyone else to catch him. He then goes on to talk about Benrahma. He was in good form when he came back, and he's taking it to the Premier League at the moment. He's going to look to improve again. If he keeps at this level he's been playing at, we'll be really happy. And then lastly, he goes on to about Antonio and Benrahma link-up. There'll be times we play them together, times we played Said in different roles, but we're really pleased with Said. We know that Mish is capable of, and he said that Said's the one who we brought in to give us goals and assists, and he started well in the Premier League, which is great for us. What do you take on this comment, though, about Benrahma? Do you think he's slightly harsh on Benny? I done a show the other day on the press conference on Moyes and Benrahma, and I see it as it's a little bit like he's treating Benrahma like his son. Because what they say is, you know, when your dad's taking your boy to a football match or to any sport, you're kind of borderline harsh on the kid. You know they've maybe got the ability, and you just try and push them even further. I get that vibe with Moyes when he talks about Benny. What do you think?
Well, I mean, was it last week where, you know, he scored and he was like, yeah, great, he scored a goal, but that's not impressive. The pass was more impressive for the assist. Like, I've got the fact he scored a goal, I don't really care about that. It's the assist I was happy with.
Yeah.
But every single player will come down to way of two ways of nurturing, right? It basically breaks down to two ways. They either need the arm around the shoulder, which is like what Bilic gave Payet, and what I think Moyes ended up giving on Outovich, or you need to kick up the arse, right? You need to be fired up, and you need to be called out and said, no, you need to improve, you need to do better. And he sort of gave Benrahma the arm around the shoulder last year, trying to like, oh no, look, he can take his time, he can work his way in, you know, we're not going to rush him, not put pressure on him. And he got that goal right at the end of the season. And maybe now Moyes has gone, look, you've had your time you've had a year of me coddling you and saying you're going to, you know, I'm going to give you time to do it. Now I'm telling you, you need to start performing. So maybe he's now gone for, I've given you the arm around the shoulder, now I'm giving you the rocket instead. Maybe that works. Maybe that's what Benrahma needs. Maybe Benrahma's a player that needs the shouting and aggression and needs the Fergie hairdryer treatment.
Well, interestingly though, I think it was Lee in the chat said, or who was it that said it in the chat? Let me find it. Or was it Duzzy? He's always been harsh on him, but it seems to work.
Yeah, he has said it, but it just seemed last season it was, I'm going to give him time, take him out of the limelight, there's no pressure on him. Now it's like, no, the pressure's on. It's almost like, you know, Lingard came in on loan for 6 months and that ball Benrahma 6 months to adjust. And now he's like, look, we got someone else in. We took the pressure off your shoulders. Now I'm not hiding it away. I'm not dropping it off the press. I'm not going to divert it. I'm putting, you're the main man now, and I'm putting the pressure on you to do it. So I'm going to call you out in the press because you are my main guy now. So it is a bit harsh on him, but at the same time, he's giving him that treatment because he's saying to him, "You're the main guy now. That's it."
Yeah. Yeah. People are saying if you hit the like button, they can all win your jersey that you're showing off behind you. Is this Davy Moore? Is this the Davy Moore that I know, David Moore? But let me know if it is. I have seen the TC chat. We did a show on it actually on Friday evening. Done a big show on it, so you can go across and check that out. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Matt, on the kind of Benny chat, to be honest. But I think it's definitely going to be his season. But we've got upwards of potentially 60 games, mate. So, you know, we're going to see squad rotation. We're going to see players in and out. And that's why it's inevitable that hopefully we go out into the market and bring in a player. GP, one thumb down equals still ? Quite possibly. I've always had my suspicions that it probably is him, to be honest.
Yeah,
he's the only guy, Matt, he's the only guy we know that can lose a sponsorship. He can slag off his own channel, and he can do detrimental things to his own channel just to favour him personally. I think people are talking about he's done another chat. Is this the one he done with the podcast channel? I've not watched the full video yet.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, We Are West Ham podcast, I think it is. So it's interesting to see what he's had to say. But yeah, I think Benny's going to be a big deal. But Matt, I'm going to ask everyone in the chat before we start doing it ourselves. It's time for you to name your starting 11. So it's definitely time to do our thing. And if everyone, I got messages actually about the feature that we created last week. So we are going to come back to you with this same feature. Now, is there any way I can do I need to make that bigger, or will that do the job, mate? I think that'll do the job, won't it? Right, so, yep, over to you, Matt. We're going to build our starting 11. So I want you, while you're in there, to put in the chat your starting 11. And we'll start building the team here as well. Goalkeeper, do we see any changes being made?
Well, I did see a comment he done in an interview the other day talking about how he would have to rotate the goalkeepers this season. Like, I can't imagine that he would. And there was a random rumour on some social media account that Areola was going to start tomorrow. But
what do you think, Matt?
I think it'll be Fabianski.
I agree. I think it will be. So let's put Fabianski in goal there. Let's make him a little bit bigger for everyone to see. Does everyone want to see this full screen again? I can't remember. Let me know if you want to see it full screen. Actually, I think people did, didn't they?
Yeah, go on.
Let's bring it up there. That makes it a little bit better for you all. Right, so we've got Fabianski in goal. What about central defensive pairing? Are we going to go with the same? Craig Dawson?
I'm going to say yes, but I want to say no.
Right, okay.
I'm going to say yes because I think Moyes will, but I want to say no because I wouldn't.
And who would you put in? Are you going to say you would swap Dawson for Diop?
Yes.
See, I just don't agree with you, mate, and I don't think he will. He's never done it, and I don't think he's going to favour it.
Pace.
So I'm going
to... That's my thing.
Yeah,
and we saw last week them two against Maximo, same Maxim for Newcastle. Those two in the first half. I remember sitting on the watch along with Dan Love, and I said to Dan, I was like, we need to literally get to the 60th minute when Sam Maxima tires out, and then if we're still in the game, we'll get back in it. We scored the equaliser on 53rd minute, and then after that, we scored the other two goals when he had less of an effect on the game.
Yeah,
but I don't think Moyes will, because we've said before, Moyes doesn't like changing winning teams, so I think he'll stick with it. I would personally change it.
Okay. Where are we going on the left? Are we going to go with a formation of 4-4-2, or are we going to go for 4-4-2? Back? Do we think that, though? Because this was the game last season that he changed, and he did go for 5.
But I don't think he's got the players to do it.
Right, okay. So let's base it on...
I think it'd be a bit like what I said last week, where Fornals might tuck in.
Yeah.
But we don't have an out-and-out left wing-back, and Creswell's not a left wing-back.
Right.
So, on that basis, yeah.
So Creswell sitting there at left back, and then of course,
unless he does play Creswell as a left wing back, who knows? Maybe Moyes go for it. Maybe
Right.
Moyes. Who's the left back
So
in the under-23s? Is it Longjello? Unless he went something mental and brought him in to make it a 5 at the back, or Ben Johnson.
The question I would have for you though is that you're starting to talk like you think it could be a 5, but I don't know if this one will be that. To be honest, I think it will be a 4 in the back line. But let's just go with the 4. There's no point in trying to beat about the bush. We know the 2 lads in the middle of the park will be protecting everything. And I'm going to tell you something right now before people start doing it. Don't believe everything you read in the press. It was a statement saying that Declan Rice wasn't happy with his valuation from the club. And can I just say something on that? Are you actually kidding me? Like that for me, that is the prime example of desperation of reporting. And I'm going to put a message out to the guys who create shows, etc., like that. Like, I think that is shit. A shit story to run with on our channel, to be honest, because we've been there, we've done that, we've wore the t-shirt. There's nothing really concrete behind this report at all. There's nothing concrete behind this report.
No, look, it come out from, is it Matt Law? Or is it Lawless, whatever his name is? Who is a Chelsea fan who writes for the Telegraph. And he's already written about 3 times this summer that Declan Rice is going to Chelsea, and it hasn't happened. They haven't put an offer in. But also, the statement he put out on his Twitter account, right, literally makes 0 sense. Right? Just forget about the fact that he said Rice isn't happy with the club's evaluation, the club's valuation of him, right? He said, Declan Rice said he's happy to set out his contract. You know what? Honestly, if there was any shred of truth in that, I would have 0 problems with that at all. Because he's got 4 years on his contract.
Yeah.
So what? We get 4 years of Declan Rice and he goes for nothing when he's 25. We've had 4 years of stability in the top 7.
But without having to go over to go over the Declan Rice thing again, though, the situation is that I believe he will be a West Ham player this season. And should things go wrong, then next summer I hold my hand up and say that I think he could leave. Absolutely. Yeah, but if things go okay and West Ham progress, then I don't see any real reason for him to potentially move on. But there's more chance of him going next summer than there is this summer. That's why this story, in my opinion, needs to be put to bed. And I really don't want us to even go down that route of titling something under the Declan Rice.
No, we don't need to do a whole video on it. It's just stupid.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, to be honest.
Well, like
it really is ridiculous.
That was the key thing for me in his tweet that just was like, makes no sense.
Yeah.
He's got
and do you know what?
He's got 3 years, and the club have the option, not him. The club have the option of another year. So he's got 4 years on his contract.
But we have a responsibility, especially as, doing content, etc., and putting stuff out there to report information and address stuff. And so we'll talk about it, but I'm not putting a full... I'm going to say to Estelle and I'm going to say to Russ, we need to just gloss over it because I think it's utter BS. And
if he had anywhere short of 2 years left on his contract, I would give that some sort of... Maybe there is. Yeah. If he's his age now, like 21, 22, and he had 2 years on his contract, I'm going to walk away. I'll be like, you know what? 2 years, because we think he's going to be here for another year anyway. So, 6 months after that, he can sign a pre-contract with a team in Europe. Yeah, but he's got 4 years. Like, why would he come out and say, I don't like the evaluation, I'm going to see out my contract? Wait, if literally, I'm not joking, if that was real, and I was David Sullivan sitting in West Ham's office, in his office up at the London Stadium, and Dec's agent walked in and went, Dec isn't happy with the valuation. He said he's going to see out his contract and leave on a free. I'm like, yeah, great. All right, we get 4 more years of Dec. That's 3 more years than I thought we was going to get. Like, that would be a no-lose situation for me. Yeah, but let's just forget it. It's absolute BS just to try and stir up and give a last-minute move again, which I'm sure he must be on Chelsea's payroll, Matt Lawless, whatever it is, because all he does is spout it. And it's...
He does. Right, let's go on to the team then. Who's playing at left? Where are we going?
Left to be Fornals.
Fornals again.
And again, because I think that does give him the potential to do what I said last week. If Moyes wants to go for that back 5, then
he gives can switch it up. Well, we'll show people that.
He could do it.
He can drop here.
Yeah, and Chris can tuck in a bit and make it into a back 5.
3 centre-half. On the right-hand side, are we going with Jared Bowen?
Of course. This is like, as long as none of these are injured at the moment, I'll be honest, as long as none of these are injured, they pretty much pick themselves.
Yeah. And then Benny just in behind.
Benny number 10 behind Antonio.
Behind
who's going to break the record for goal scoring tomorrow.
Yep, he certainly is. So anyone who's watching, let me know your thoughts on the predicted starting 11 from Matt. We've got Fabianski in goal, left back of Creswell, midfield, centre defenders of Dawson and Ogbonna, Sufal at right back, Bowen playing in the right hand side, Rice, Souček protecting, Fornals in left, Benny through the middle and Antonio in there. But what we did see from Benny was him drifting into play quite a lot centrally in the park. Also, if, say, the likes of Souček was stepping forward, we'd have Declan Rice stepping in the middle here. And we saw a lot of interchange play between these three guys, Bowen, Fornals and Benny, getting a little bit of the freedom to do what they want to do. But what Matt has been saying is, if we do need to play a flat five, a five at the back, then we just drop these guys over a little bit and we bring Pablo into the left wing back position. And
Benny would probably drop over. Yeah, Benny would probably drop over onto the left, like the left of the front. And it becomes like a front three. And then your system's changed into like a 5-2-3.
Yeah.
So then you've got Bowen and Benny either side of Antonio.
Yeah. So what does everyone think of that? Let me know your thoughts.
So you've got the same players on the pitch and you can change formation. I said, like, for me at the moment, I would be confident on 10 of those 11 players starting.
Yeah.
The only one I'd be is the goalkeeper, only because I need to try and find the comment. I should have screenshotted it. And he made a comment about we're going to have to rotate goalkeepers this year. And I thought, well, he doesn't need to make a comment about that. We normally just do it anyway. We always know we have a cup goalkeeper that's not the first choice.
Yeah. So you think there's there's a shout there for Areola to start tomorrow?
Yes, but again, I didn't screenshot the tweet. Yeah. So
I think even that comment that he made, it makes sense. However, I don't think it's going to be for this game, to be honest. Let's see what everyone else is saying about the team selection. I think everyone, basically what we're saying is we're going to go with an unchanged starting 11.
You know what?
Toby is saying
it might still be in the pictures, the team from last week. It might still be up there in the Matchday Live. And I guarantee you could probably take the entire 20-man squad as it is and just take the Newcastle logo off and put the Leicester logo on. It would be the same team.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have the options.
Toby's saying if Masuaku isn't fit, Johnson at left wing back, I think he'll go to a back five to compensate for Leicester's pace, which is a genuine. It could happen, to be honest.
That's the only. Could happen.
Yeah. So let's go back into the team, and if it was a back five, what are we going to do? What changes do you make there?
What I think like the centre backs the other way round. I think Oggy.
Yeah, of course. Sorry.
Would play, yeah, but if it was a back, the only thing is if it's a back five, then I do think that Fornals would be the player to miss out.
Yep. And who goes in for him?
So it's between Fredericks and Johnson, but I think Johnson just seems to be more comfortable on the left.
Yep.
So I think it would be that, and then it would then be like, for me, it would be like a 5-2-3. I think Benny and Bowen would still be like either side of Antonio.
Yeah. See, for me though, like I get the dress.
So I would have both. I would have all the wide players a bit further forward.
Yeah.
So it looks like a 3-4-3.
Yeah.
So you'd have,
but I get the kind of point of what Toby was saying, in terms of playing a back five. However, my biggest concern is, and Moyes has rammed it home this season about constantly scoring goals, outscoring the opposition, etc. And I don't know if this is the best option, especially for our creative player such as Benny. I think Benny needs that free role.
Needs to be in the middle.
He needs to be in the middle to benefit him. And I'm not saying we play just because we are playing, based upon him. It's an 11-man team.
That's what I said about Fornals, because he has really developed, especially since Moyes come in, like his tracking back in his work ethic, Fornals.
Yep.
And he is now don't forget, he came in as a number 10, right? Yep. He came in as a glitzy glam number 10, and he is like one of the hardest working players. Like, I think last year his ground coverage was second to Souček. And Souček covered the most in the league. So I think if anyone out of the players we've got could play both and get up and down to do it, it would be Fornals.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just, as well, because I like you said, I think Ben Rama's proven that he needs to stay in the middle. I think he's shown the effect he had. Because the thing is, he doesn't have the defensive responsibility. But it's like when we brought Arnautovic in. And I remember it was a home game, I think it was Brighton, in like October, November time, and we lost. And Arnautovic was on the wing. Might have been Bilic's last game or one of his last games. And he got slated after the game by Gary Neville. Like, Gary Neville absolutely tore Arnautovic apart. And he was like, you cannot play on the wide of the midfield and be that lazy and not tracking back. I think he was actually playing on the left-hand side, cutting in, and Creswell was just getting annihilated every time because Arnautovic was just like, I'm not tracking back.
Yeah.
And then Moyes went, all right, we'll go play up front. And all of a sudden, taking the defensive responsibility off him, one, he made him more defensive because then he gave him a free role to do what he wanted. He started tracking back more, which didn't make sense. But it took the onus off him to have that responsibility of that you need to mark that guy on the wing. If he goes forward beyond you, you need to turn and go back. And it's almost like built up when we had Payet, he played in that left wing, but Noble had better legs then, and Noble and Kouyaté between them covered the defensive job for him. Because it was like, you know what, you're doing too much up the pitch to even bother defending. And I think that is Benrahma. I think if you see the fourth goal last week, we had everyone in the box because they were attacking. And like Benrahma was the furthest player up the pitch.
Yeah.
Like Antonio was like 40 yards out
to
get on the end of the clearance. And Benny was like goal hanging on the halfway line to give you that impact, that pace, that trickery on the counter-attack. And I think you don't get that if he's 15 yards out because he's doubling up with Creswell. Yeah. So I think whichever team we pick, Moyes has now put himself sort of in a position where he needs to leave Benrahma in that free role.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. Listen, I'll be brutally honest, though. I think it comes down to the fact that I don't think Moyes will want to change things too early because it is too early. And we did get a good result. We played well. We had the kind of hiccup of the first half against Newcastle. And I think where the second half was to the benefit of West Ham, to be honest. We came out of our the changing room and took the game to Newcastle, and I think that's what Moyes is going to be wanting from the start for this game. But we've discussed the game. I mean, everyone in the chat, there's so many difference of opinions. There's some people making 3 changes, but I don't know when the last time Moyes has made something like 3 changes.
He wouldn't make that many changes. I mean, the thing is, how are we making 3 changes? What changes are people making? We haven't even got that many players.
Yeah.
What changes are people making?
Yeah.
Last week's team, we've got 1, 2, 3. We had 3 kids on the bench last week. Like, what changes are you making? What, you bringing in more defenders?
Yep, of course. No, I know what you mean. Listen, it gets that nitty-gritty time. It's our time to give you our predictions. So if you are watching, put it in the comments now. We'll go through all of the predictions. What is your predictions for tomorrow night's game? Before we do that, though, Matt, tomorrow night we will be live to you about 7:45. Yes, that early. Bringing you Matchday Live from here. I'll be controlling it from, what do you want to call this? What did they call it? The studio.
It's like from the studio, yeah.
From the studio. You'll have Matt and several guys from the West Ham network at the stadium. They'll be dropping in and out of the stream. We'll be interviewing some fans before the game from the supporters club. So make sure you get yourself down there. If you want to come on the camera, come and have a chat with the guys, please do it. I'm looking forward to speaking to you all. So that'll be starting about 7:45, 7:10 tomorrow evening. And yeah, fingers crossed we can get something from it. So come and put your predictions in the chat just now. Right, Matt, come on. Give me your predictions, mate.
You know what? There's a few teams I don't like playing, and Leicester's one of them. I'm going to go for a Desmond.
A Desmond, 2 each.
And you know what? I don't want to be negative in that, but I'd be quite happy with a draw against Leicester. I know we done a double over them last year, but they've actually added more quality to the squad they even had, and we've lost 4 players. If we'd have made signings at this point,
There goes Matt. Matt's just left me all alone. He's gone for a Desmond, so I'm going to go with something similar to what Matt said. I think Leicester will score 2 goals. I think West Ham will score 2 goals, but I think West Ham will score 1 more than the 2. And I think West Ham may walk away with 3-2. Matt, I think you need to put some money in your electricity bill.
Mate,
or put some money in your paint.
So I've got the hamster running again. It's fine.
Yeah,
Hamster's
exactly.
running.
You're going for a Desmond. I've agreed that both teams will score 2 goals. However, one of the teams will score 1 more than the 2, making it 3-2, and I think it's going to be West Ham. I think it's going to be an eventful game. I think we're going to step up to the plate, and hopefully we do. And it's players like Benny's time, Fornal's time, Boland's time, Antonio's time. Antonio's going to break the record tomorrow night. We've got a good attacking threat, Matt. And
you know what? I don't want to say this because we don't often do it, but I'm sure we're due like a boring 0-0. I honestly can't remember last time we had one under Moyes.
Do you know what? I might just remove him from the stream for that one. I'm only joking. Right, let's get.
I think was it Brighton? No, was it like Christmas time? We played Brighton.
Southampton.
Yeah, that was it. So we drew one. And I did this on the preview I done yesterday. I said it's going to be either like a basketball game of end to end with goals galore, or we can have a boring draw. I want to win, but
look at this. Look at this one. Reese 9-0 West Ham. We are massive. Happy Hammer 3-1 West Ham. Kimbo 3-1 West Ham. FSK SKRCDV 8-0 West Ham. Whatever happens from words and pictures, don't mention GSB neutral. The funny thing is, WMP, I was sticking up for bloody Stell, not me. That was the thing. Steve Bell is saying 2-0 West Ham. Glenn Marshall 4-2 West Ham. Toby saying 3-1. Cage game. We hit on the break in the 86th minute. Put it to bed. Orange Juice is saying 8-0 to Leicester. David Trevitt, good to see you, mate. David, I know you messaged me saying, but are you getting notifications when our videos are coming up? Because I noticed that you weren't on some of our streams recently and putting comments on. So let us know if you are, please, mate. And, oh God, where are we? So many comments, Matt. How do I even find where they were? 2-2, Lobo last minute penalty, and that takes him above. That takes him above.
No, he's just behind, isn't he?
So that would make him equal with Canio and Antonio. While you're looking that up, I'll keep going through the scores. Alfie saying 3-1 to West Ham, Andy 3-1 to West Ham. Where is the supporters club? It is right below the orbit. You know that the world's European's largest slide, right beside the stadium. Fantastic location. It's in a 2-floored venue, and the supporters club, I believe, is now going to be over the 2 floors. However, we will be based upstairs on the 2nd floor. Full as expected.
Yeah, so Noble is two behind now.
Yeah,
he must be because what's Antonio on?
47, is it?
So yeah, so he's at 1 behind, I think. He's 1 behind, so.
Lee is saying 3-1 West Ham. Joe Led is saying 0-0. Steve Hilson saying Oggy. Goals, words and pictures, 2-0 win. 2-1 to West Ham. Mark R saying 3-1. 2-1 our boys. Words and pictures saying 4-2. Bernie saying 1-0 draw. Gary J saying 2-1 West Ham. Orange just saying 8-0 for the second time. GP saying 3-2 win. Neil from Down Under saying 3-1 win. Stephen Galloway is saying 4-2. WHUFC hates saying this 2-1 Leicester. Well, you should hate saying that. I'm only messing. Does O'Dale 1-0. Alfie 3-2. Oh my words, so many comments. David Anderson 3-1 West Ham. You can't remove him. He's not still. I know he's not. The plan is to outscore them 100%. I like that. Fulham 0-0. I like that, Alfie, as well, mate. I like that. I'll go with 3-2 West Ham. Steve is saying 3-1. GSB neutral is crap. That's still for you. Eats their own, Dave. 5-2 West Ham from Trevor. No, mate, not getting any notifications. There's a bell notification, David, so you should be able to click that bell notification when you have hit the subscribed option. So please do that. A little cheeky bell. If it looks like it's been marked, make sure you tick it. That will notify you when we come up. Why does I'm not going to go into this again. Daniela Stewart 4-0 West Ham would put us to stop. 1 each. David saying 3-2. We were a good team to stop Vardy half the job. 3-0. 0-0. 2-1. And how do you live hundreds of miles apart and use the same barbers? Because we do it ourselves, Toby. We do it ourselves. To reiterate, thank you very much for watching our preview. If you are new around here, go and click that subscribe button. I'll tell you why I'm going to push the subscribe button right now. Because we are very, very close to hitting the 8,000 subscriber mark. I'll tell you the exact number as we speak. We need 70 more people. We need 70 more people to hit that subscribe button. So I'm going to ask you a massive favor. There is an option when you log into YouTube, if you don't mind me telling you all this. There is an option, and when you're watching our video, which you'll be doing live right now, there is a button where beside the like, they've got live chat and all that sort of stuff. There is an option that says share. I'm going to ask you to share it. It will open up an option to share to specific social media accounts, Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, email, etc. Please do me a favor and try and share that to Facebook just now. It'd be really, really cool, because what we're going to try and do is push to get the 8,000 subscribers. And once you get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, you can start to dig in a little bit deeper into the world of what YouTube can offer, hopefully giving you even better content than what we already do. So please hit that share button. Again, if you are watching right now, we've only got 65 people liked our show.
Shocking.
So surely to God, you can get on there and get higher likes on it. So we're up at 73. So please do that. Get that number right up there for us as well. If you are interested, like I said, in becoming a channel member, then please click the link I'm about to put in the chat just now. There we are, and that's in there just now. So please click on that. And also, if you want to make any donation to the Iron Support and Food Banks, here is the link in the chat just now. That takes you straight to the donation button for Iron Support and Food Bank. So listen, thank you very much for joining us. 11:30 tonight is the rewind of Julian Dix's My Hammers 11. So please go and check that out. Please remember it's pre-recorded with Russ. 11:30 tonight it's going live, so you'll have some late time viewing to watch. So please watch that. Tomorrow, I'm sure we'll probably have a match day live earlier in the day before we then, an early show in the day before we go live for the match day live in the evening. But make sure you come across, listen to our commentary and everything we're going to be doing. And yeah, Matt, any last words you want to say?
No, just actually, I don't know if anyone saw today, but make sure you get to the stadium early. I saw some of the photos and videos on Twitter today from
Southampton. Yeah,
and it was an absolute disaster.
Yeah,
like the queues were like down the road, like 10 minutes before kickoff.
They've put out an official apology to the Premier League and the fan base for saying it was an absolute disaster today. So if you are going to the game, I don't know how much that will detriment people's, what plans they have. However, what I will say to you is the Supporters Club's location is very, very good if you're thinking about having a drink or a couple of drinks or a location you want to chill out before the game. It's the closest area to the stadium that you can have a drink without being inside the stadium. So it's definitely worthwhile doing it. Reese has reminded us as well, the West Ham Network Discord server. So if you're interested in coming in, having a chat with us all, we're all in there. It's like this big one group where you can have a chit chat, chinwag. Matt, get yourself onto Discord because I've not seen you on there.
Yeah, I need to get on there.
It's not hard, mate. So I tell you what, everyone who's watching, we're expecting Matt to join tonight. Yes.
I'll go back through the live chat and find it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right at the end. Let me remember. It's right at the end, mate. Right at the end. So you may as well skip, if you're going to rewatch this, Matt, skip all the way to the end and get the link in the chat. So thank you for joining us. Like I said, we are pushing out to get upwards of 8,000 subscribers. So please do it. Hit that subscribe button. And thank you very much. And be safe tomorrow. Enjoy the game. Get behind the lads. Matt, before you go, Leicester player you fear the most?
Because there's crowds, Vardy.
West Ham player they should fear the most?
Ben Rama.
And I agree. Come on, you Irons. See you tomorrow.